imagine spending like 15 years perfecting the art of walking in 8-inch platform heels, right? Investing tens of thousands of dollars into custom garments.
Yeah, and risking absolute orthopedic destruction.
Exactly. Mastering the intricate geometry of a cut crease eye, only to realize the one thing standing between you and $100,000 is your ability to do a flawless cartwheel in a corset to a Shania Twain song.
It is the ultimate psychological warfare.
The sheer pressure, the stunts, I mean, the absolute nerve on that main stage. My heart rate has literally not recovered since the confetti dropped. We are talking back-breaking dips, cultural excellence, and absolute drag perfection.
And yet, while you are vibrating at a frequency that could probably shatter glass, I am sitting here ready to file a formal complaint with the International Television Authority.
Oh, here we go.
Because a 6-episode season for a cast of this staggering, undeniable caliber is a criminal offense. 6 episodes. That is not a narrative arc.
It's really not.
That is an appetizer. That is a free sample of a gourmet meal handed to you on a toothpick at the mall food court. We were starved for content, and the pacing just felt like we were watching reality television in fast forward.
Babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And we've got coconut, pineapple, spiked lemonades on deck because it's the finale. And apparently we need tropical emotional support.
Tropical emotional support. And honestly, heavy on the spiked lemonade. Because frankly, watching this season end so abruptly has sent me into an absolute tailspin. But before we get to the crowning and the runway architecture, we have to talk about my other current psychological tailspin.
Oh, we are diving right into the deep end of the anxiety pool today. Let's unpack it.
Yeah.
What is the current spiral?
The twin fantasy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I have been having this looping, intrusive thought experiment about the sheer concept of raising twins. It started over the weekend. I was walking downtown and I saw a family pushing one of those massive double-wide strollers that legitimately looks like a tactical assault vehicle.
The ones with the massive tires.
Yes. The engineering on this thing alone was terrifying. It took up the entire sidewalk.
Wait, I am so emotionally invested in this right now. Twins. But think about the fantasy, though. Imagine the matching outfits.
The outfits do not negate the terror.
But the tiny little coordinated rompers, one in blush pink, one in sage green, or like that sad beige neutral aesthetic that all the influencer moms are doing right now, where the babies look like tiny Victorian ghosts.
Tiny Victorian ghosts is exactly what they look like.
It's so cute. Just the absolute fantasy of pushing one of those heavy-duty double-wide strollers through an artisanal farmer's market, buying organic kale, looking like the ultimate unbothered matriarch. It is profoundly cute.
See, you are looking at the Pinterest board version of reality.
Right.
You are romanticizing the aesthetic.
Oh, I am.
But I am analytically breaking down the sheer logistical and biological nightmare of keeping 2 tiny, helpless humans alive simultaneously. If you are listening to this right now and you've ever looked at a double stroller and felt a primal wave of fear, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I mean, double the love, right?
Double the exhaustion. Do you understand what having twins does to a sleep schedule? Total destruction. It is a biological DDoS attack on your nervous system. You get one to sleep, the other one wakes up screaming.
Oh, the cascading wake-ups.
Exactly. You finally feed the second one. The first one requires a blowout diaper change. You are caught in an infinite loop of bodily fluids and sleep deprivation.
Okay, yes, the sleep deprivation sounds like an actual military interrogation tactic. But think of the built-in best friend. They would have their own secret language.
Which is terrifying.
They would whisper to each other in the crib. It's the ultimate family plot twist. You go into the ultrasound clinic expecting one baby, mentally preparing for a standard timeline, and boom, the technician squints at the screen and says, wait, there's another heartbeat.
Just instant panic.
The drama of it all, it's reality television in your own uterus.
Oh, it's a plot twist, all right. It's a psychological thriller. Because here's the game theory of twins. You know one of them is going to be the evil twin. It is statistically, narratively probable.
Oh, 100%.
One is the angel who eats their strained peas, sleeps through the night, and coos at strangers, and the other is actively plotting your demise from the high chair. You're constantly trying to profile your own infants to figure out which one is the mastermind.
An evil twin, yes.
Yeah.
They would absolutely swap places to mess with us when they get older. Like, no, I'm the good one. She broke the vase. And you'd never know.
You'd never trust either of them again.
It's terrifying, but also kind of iconic. I feel like having twins would just forge you in the fire. Like, if you can survive double teething, you can confidently survive a zombie apocalypse.
Or it completely shatters your psyche and you end up fleeing into the woods. to live off-grid. Which actually brings me to our second existential spiral of the day, because honestly, I'm already exhausted just thinking about hypothetical matching children.
Let's talk about our actual reality.
Oh no, here it comes, the existential career crisis.
Exactly. I was at the clinic yesterday, staring into a patient's mouth, specifically at a lower left molar that looked like it had been through trench warfare.
Oh, I know exactly the kind you mean. Just absolute structural decay
Yeah.
from years of neglect. And I completely zoned out. I looked at the little plastic suction tube. I looked at the tiny mirror fogging up with their humid breath, the smell of tooth dust in the air, and I just froze.
You dissociated.
Completely. I thought, is this it? Is this the exact posture I am going to hold for the rest of my life?
I feel this in my soul. The highs of dentistry are great, right? Fixing smiles, making people feel confident, the literal artistry of sculpting a perfect composite filling so it mirrors the natural anatomy of a real tooth. It's rewarding.
It is, technically.
But the lows, babes, are we really supposed to do this until retirement?
Yeah.
Just staring into dark, cavernous, wet environments all day?
Yes.
Getting yelled at because someone didn't floss for an entire presidential administration and now their gums are furiously angry and bleeding everywhere?
It's the repetitive strain injury of the soul. You start mathematically calculating how many more root canals you have to physically perform before you can afford to just evaporate into the ether.
It's so bleak when you put it like that.
But if you are listening to this right now, staring at a spreadsheet or answering your 70th email of the morning, you know exactly what this feels like. If money were no object, I would drop the drill tomorrow. I would definitely not be practicing dentistry.
What would you do? Like, if some mysterious benefactor just dropped $10 million in your lap right now, what is the ultimate escape fantasy?
Oh, I would retire to a tropical island immediately. But I wouldn't just do nothing. I'd open a highly specific, low-yield business that absolutely does not matter to the global economy.
Like what?
Like a boutique that only sells artisanal sea glass and driftwood sculptures. Open strictly from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just pure, unadulterated peace. I think every single adult secretly wonders if they picked the wrong career or if they're just ready for the next act.
I firmly believe 100% of adults have a heavily detailed backup fantasy life. Mine is running a sanctuary for senior golden retrievers in the mountains.
That sounds incredibly loud, but very you.
No teeth to drill, no schedules, just holding paws and throwing tennis balls. But instead, we are here debating the structural merits of porcelain versus zirconia crowns while our spines slowly fuse into a permanent C shape.
And speaking of things that are stuck in a permanent, unyielding state, let's talk about our third spiral today. Outdated technology. Specifically, cable television.
Oh my gosh, yes. The absolute refusal to transition to the future. Why is cable still a thing?
My parents called me yesterday specifically to complain about their cable bill going up to some astronomical, frankly, offensive number. And I had this moment of pure technological confusion.
Because it's so easily solved.
Right. I said, why are you still paying for cable? Cut the cord. We have streaming. I will personally drive to your house and install a Roku. And they looked at me through the FaceTime screen like I had suggested we dissolve the banking system and start bartering with chickens.
They just can't let go of the channels.
They aggressively refuse to let it go. And don't even get me started on the home phone, the landline.
The landline is terrifying. It is an instrument of pure anxiety. If a phone rings in my house, and it's an actual physical bell ringing on a wall and not my cell phone vibrating, I immediately assume it is a catastrophic emergency.
Or a debt collector.
Yes, a relentless debt collector, or literally a ghost, who under the age of 40 actually wants a landline. The physical, jarring sound of a landline ringing is the soundtrack to an immediate panic attack.
It is exclusively utilized by telemarketers offering fraudulent duct cleaning services and elderly relatives who completely disregard time zones and call in the middle of dinner. But my parents cling to it.
Like a lifeline.
They have the bulky cordless phone sitting in the charging cradle in the kitchen like it's a sacred religious artifact. Babes, our parents are living in 1998, and honestly, I respect the commitment.
It's the sheer dedication to the bit. They want the physical rubber buttons with the worn-off white numbers. They want to flip to the TV guide channel and stare at the screen, waiting for the scrolling blue text to slowly, painstakingly make its way down to HBO.
It was a test of patience we no longer possess.
It's a simpler, slower time. Which actually makes me really nostalgic because speaking of things that are ending, we are facing the ultimate seasonal transition. It's the last weekend of summer.
Spiral number 4. The seasonal depression is incoming. You can literally feel the angle of the sun changing.
You really cared.
The light in the afternoon hits the kitchen floor differently, and you know the darkness is approaching.
Babes, it's almost Labor Day. We need to grill like our lives depend on it.
The urgency of the final summer BBQ is unmatched. It is a frantic, primal race against the changing of the leaves.
It really is.
It's this deep-seated human need to cook meat over open flames before we are forced back into the caves for winter.
I am grilling absolutely everything in sight. Burgers, hot dogs, corn on the cob, peaches, pineapple, thick slabs of halloumi cheese. If it physically exists in my refrigerator, I am throwing it on the charcoal.
As you should.
Because soon the cold weather is going to hit and we will be trapped indoors eating heavy, slow-cooked stews, looking out frosty windows, desperately dreaming of vitamin D.
There is a highly specific, potent melancholy to it. You're standing in the backyard, eating a perfectly charred hot dog. The sun is setting at a reasonable hour, but there is a distinct, undeniable chill in the air.
The breeze just hits different.
You realize the season is slipping through your fingers, the year is ending, and you're just trying to artificially squeeze out one last perfect weekend before the winter darkness takes over. It's the ultimate Sunday scaries, but applied to the entire calendar year.
Exactly. We have to hold on to the joy while we have it. We have to savor the potato salad before we transition into the era of root vegetables.
But babes, enough about twin fantasies, career crises, cable TV, our parents living in the past, and the final grilling weekend of summer. Let's get into the Canada's Drag Race finale.
Yes, let's go. And honestly, the theme of all those spirals, the anxiety of transition, the fear of the future, the pressure of a final moment, that is exactly what these queens were facing on the main stage.
It is the apex of their careers.
They are transitioning from competitors to either winners or runners-up. Their legacies are being permanently locked in. The pressure is astronomical.
It is the ultimate inflection point in a drag queen's career. And let's start by looking at the judges panel, because the visual presentation this week was top tier. They understood the assignment. They did not hold back for the finale.
Oh my goodness, Brooke Lynn Heights. She stepped out looking like a biblically accurate angel. And when we say biblical in drag, we mean massive scale, unearthly, intimidating beauty.
It was terrifyingly gorgeous.
The stunning silver and light pink gown, the sheer volume of the fabric taking up half the stage, the bizarre but beautiful structural wig. It was heavenly. It felt like the highest, most elevated form of drag possible. And Jimbo, the confetti cannon hidden in the wig.
Jimbo is a chaotic engineering genius. Let's talk about the mechanics of that for a second.
Absolutely.
To wire a tiny functional confetti cannon into an updo, rig a trigger mechanism that you can activate seamlessly while walking in heels, and have it go off at the exact final beat of the runway walk. It's so kooky, but it works perfectly because she balances the total absurdity of clown drag with actual, undeniable glamour.
She is unmatched.
But let's look at Priyanka. The styling choice to go with a severe middle part, the heavy, opulent jewelry.
Priyanka looks so fiercely polished. A middle part on Priyanka just hits differently. It frames her face perfectly. The face card was absolutely lethal, and it just shows how much her aesthetic has evolved and refined since she won her season.
What's fascinating to me is the broader dynamic of this specific judging panel. It's an all-drag queen panel, and I'm going to make a firm argument right now based on the chemistry and critique of this season.
Okay, let's hear it.
This should be the permanent panel architecture for all franchises moving forward. Think about it. Who better to judge drag queens than drag queens who have survived the reality TV machine?
That is a strong point.
They have been through the psychological wringer. They know exactly what it takes to construct a garment overnight using only hot glue and desperation. They understand the isolating pressure of the workroom and the blinding lights of the main stage.
Okay, I hear you, but let me push back a little on this. I love the all-drag panel for an all-star season. Absolutely. It feels like peers evaluating peers, which makes total sense when the contestants are seasoned, touring professionals.
Sure.
But for a regular flagship season, sometimes you really do need that outside perspective. You need the fashion editor or the mainstream comedy writer or the professional choreographer.
Do you think it gets too insular?
Exactly. If you only have drag queens judging drag queens, you risk it becoming an echo chamber of drag-specific tropes, and you lose insight into how the performance translates to a broader mainstream audience. You need someone to say, I don't know drag history, but I know this isn't funny.
That is a very fair counterpoint. The risk of an echo chamber is real. But I still think the core of the panel should heavily lean towards those who physically practice the art form. The empathy, but also the hyper-specific constructive criticism that Jimbo and Priyanka offered this season were unmatched. They critiqued from a place of lived trauma and triumph.
Which we love to see.
But let's move from the judges to the eliminated queens who returned to walk the runway one last time for their coronation eleganza.
The eliminated queens, getting to see them walk the runway one last time without the pressure of a challenge was such a gift. Let's start with Jackie Cox. I was genuinely emotional over her look.
It was stunning.
A gorgeous Persian-inspired green and gold gown. She used this massive international platform to explicitly honor the 2009 Green Movement for Iranian women's rights, throwing the peace sign as a symbol of victory and resistance. It was beautiful, it was deeply political, and it was exactly what drag should be when it leverages its platform for advocacy.
It was a visually striking look with a vital message. But analytically speaking, seeing her up there also highlighted the sheer tragedy of her run this season. If we look at the game theory of reality TV, Jackie was at a severe mathematical disadvantage from the moment she walked into that workroom.
Because of the Golden Beaver twist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For anyone in the Snark squad who might need a refresher on the psychological warfare that is the Golden Beaver, this isn't just a standard elimination.
Not at all.
The winner of the week's challenge has the absolute power to pluck one queen from the bottom three and save them, forcing the remaining two to lip sync. It forces the winner to show their cards and alliances immediately.
Which is so messy.
Jackie was the only U.S. queen. She didn't know the Canadian girls personally. In a season where the Golden Beaver made it a heavily social, deeply strategic game, she was an easy, guilt-free target for early elimination. No one had to betray a friend to send Jackie home. It's a shame we didn't get to see more of her prepared package.
Completely. The social mechanics of the game got her, not a lack of talent. And then we had Pythia. I completely lost my mind over her runway, a three-headed, gold Grecian architecture look.
The audacity of that garment.
It was a masterpiece of set design, prop making, and costuming all merged into one single wearable garment. She literally brought golden pillars and multiple faces to the runway.
My first thought was not about the aesthetics, but entirely about the logistics.
Yeah.
How did she physically pack that on a commercial airplane?
Right. Did she have to buy it its own seat? Did she buckle the third head in?
The structural engineering required to transport a three-headed golden architectural column across the country while adhering to airline baggage weight limits is honestly astounding. Think about how queens have to build these things. Did it disassemble via PVC pipes?
It had to, right?
Was it carved out of lightweight EVA foam? The spatial awareness required just to walk down the runway without taking out a lighting rig deserves a crown of its own.
It was pure Pythia. She always bypasses standard glamour and takes it to that weird, high-concept, artsy place that no one else even conceives of. Then we had Juicebox giving us Game of Thrones, Xeno Warrior Princess, metallic realness.
Very powerful.
The soft blue fabric paired with the heavy silver armor pieces. She looked so powerful, like she was ready to pull a sword and slay a dragon right there on the stage.
What's incredibly satisfying about Juicebox's narrative arc this season is that she broke the terrifying double pork chop curse.
Explain the curse for the listeners who might not know the lore.
In Drag Race terminology, being the pork chop means you are the very first queen eliminated in a season. Juicebox was first out on her original season. When she was cast on All Stars, the statistical terror was that she would be eliminated first again.
That is literally a nightmare scenario.
Not only did she survive that agonizing first episode, but she actually secured the bag. She won Miss Congeniality, which was voted on by her peers, and it came with a $10,000 cash prize from Shark.
I was so incredibly happy for her. She got her redemption arc, she showed immense growth in her drag, and she walked away with a massive check. We absolutely love to see it. Next was Michaela Couture, giving us this stunning sea goddess, shells everywhere aquatic aesthetic.
The detailing was wild.
The pearl detailing was exquisite. And the fact that she did an extra photo shoot in actual freezing water on her Instagram just to show off the look, the sheer dedication.
She is only 23 years old. The raw, magnetic star power she possesses at that age is frightening.
Yeah.
She commands the camera naturally. Even when she was eliminated midway through, her presence lingered over the rest of the season. She possessed a main character energy even when she wasn't physically on our screens.
And finally, Tiffany Co. She looked breathtaking in her traditional Vietnamese goddess gown. The flower rings on her fingers that formed a full massive bloom when she put her hands together.
That was such a smart accessory.
The mechanical detail of that accessory was exquisite, and the rich color palette was gorgeous on her skin tone.
And beyond the fashion, We have to applaud her brilliant, self-deprecating strategy this season. She literally weaponized her perceived weakness to survive the Golden Beaver votes.
It was so iconic.
Instead of posturing and saying, "I'm the best, keep me," she went to the challenge winners and said, "Look, I'm not a threat to you in the finale. Keep me around so you have an easy beat." And they fell for it. It was masterclass psychological manipulation, and it successfully carried her all the way to the top 5 against absolute seasoned titans.
It was so incredibly smart. She played the psychological game flawlessly. Speaking of strategy and drama, let's unpack this mini reunion they had on stage. Because it got a little spicy before the lip sync started.
It did. The producers sat the girls down for a final kiki, and the tension that had been simmering under the surface all season surfaced immediately.
I was living for the messiness.
Yeah.
Michaela directly called out Nearah Nuff for having prickly energy when Nearah was actively campaigning to put Michaela in the bottom during the season. Michaela did not hold back her feelings.
But Nearah defended her actions completely logically. She didn't apologize for playing the game. She stated that it was the only correct strategic move in that specific spot to guarantee either her or Aurora went home, thereby protecting her own track record.
She stands by her choices.
But what was truly fascinating from a sociological standpoint was watching Aurora Matrix during this exchange.
Oh, Aurora was physically shifting in her seat. You could see the strategic gears turning behind her eyes.
Exactly. Aurora tries to call out Nearah for claiming to have had her back, but Nearah correctly and swiftly points out that Aurora never voted to save her when she held the Golden Beaver power.
Busted.
And then Aurora, realizing she's been caught in a contradiction, quickly admits she had a tighter alliance with Juicebox all along, laughs it off, and throws out this incredibly icy, deeply inauthentic "love you, sister" to Nearah.
It was so icy. Love you, sister. The forced pageant smile, the fake enthusiasm. It was reality TV gold.
It was authentic in its pure inauthenticity. It showed us the cutthroat, heavily calculated player beneath Aurora's highly polished, constantly smiling exterior. She was playing three-dimensional chess while everyone else was playing checkers.
And right after that incredible tension, they throw the eliminated queens into a 5-way lip sync. A lip sync for their pride and cash to RuPaul's The Queendom. All 5 of them on stage at the exact same time, fighting for the spotlight, getting eliminated one by one in a chaotic gong show format.
This format is perfectly unhinged television.
Yeah.
It is chaotic, it is messy, and it is a brilliant structural innovation.
So fun to watch.
Having Jimbo, Priyanka, and Brooke Lynn just arbitrarily cut the music, yell into a microphone, and aggressively point someone off the stage. Pure, unfiltered entertainment. It's the kind of big, risky swing that Canada's Drag Race is known for.
I was crying laughing when Pythia literally just laid down on the stage and surrendered. She was like, "Nope, I am wearing a heavy, highly delicate architectural foam headpiece. I am absolutely not a lip sync assassin. I am going to peacefully lay here on the floor and accept my fate."
A very rational decision, honestly.
It was the most relatable human moment of the entire season.
Michaela ultimately survives the bloodbath and takes the win and the $2,500 tip, which was completely deserved. She outperformed everyone on that crowded stage with pure, undeniable kinetic energy.
Okay, so the eliminated queens have taken their final bows. The confetti from the mini challenge is swept away. The stage is cleared. Now, the transition. The true contenders are stepping onto the runway for their ultimate judgment, the Final 4 fashion court.
Let's break down these final looks with absolute scrutiny, because this is where the crown is theoretically won or lost in the minds of the judges before the final performance even begins.
Let's start with Sami Landri. I loved it. It was chaotic. It was unapologetic. She did a high camp homage to the Acadian flag, mixing the bold red, white, blue, and the yellow star, and then slapped her signature tacky leopard print all over it. It was so completely distinctly her brand.
Look, I respect that she stayed 100% true to her tacky, campy aesthetic, especially considering she returned to All-Stars directly from Season 6 without a break to elevate her wardrobe or gather funds.
That is so hard to do.
That takes stamina, an incredibly strong sense of self, but analytically and perhaps a bit sarcastically, we need to discuss the proportions of that cone bra.
Oh no, I knew you were going to bring up the tailoring.
It was giving itty-bitty titty committee. The physical cones were entirely too small for the massive scale of the dress. It threw off the entire visual silhouette.
They were a little petite.
If you were going to reference a Madonna-esque cone bra on a finale runway, the corsetry architecture needs to be flawless and scaled correctly for a television camera. It was a slight miss for me on the garment construction, even if the concept was very on brand for Sami.
Fair point. The tailoring and the boning could have been tighter. But then we have Jada Shada Hudson, the sheer, overwhelming scale of this look. The massive hair, the warrior shields built into the arm cuffs, the giant ornate staff, the huge, sweeping mermaid skirt. It was breathtaking.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of her narrative, Jada's glow-up from Season 3 is incredible. And her story is so deeply inspiring, a refugee immigrant who built a resilient 15-year drag career, experienced the extreme highs and brutal lows of the industry, and is now serving this untouchable level of excellence on the main stage.
A true icon.
She looked expensive, powerful, and deeply connected to her cultural roots.
It was final boss warrior energy. She looked ready to literally conquer a small nation. And speaking of final bosses, Nearah Nuff, I swooned. The red to black ombre hair perfectly matching the deep crimson of the sequined Spanish flamenco dancer gown. It was dramatic, it was filled with passion, it was structurally flawless.
Nearah looks stunning, and I will make the controversial argument right now. Nearah Nuff was the actual main character of this entire season.
Oh, hot take. Let's hear it. Because I am ready to push back on this. Unpack that for me.
Think about the narrative arc of the edit. She started out as the prickly, aggressive villain. She was ruthless with her strategy, she spilled everyone's alliances out in the open, she caused massive friction in the workroom.
She was great TV.
But as the season progressed, she evolved into the most compelling, multi-dimensional protagonist. We saw her unexpected, brilliant humor in Snatch Game, playing a hypermasculine hockey bro. We saw her vulnerability in the workroom, and we witnessed her sheer physical dominance in the lip syncs. She drove the plot, the conflict, and the resolution of this season more than anyone else.
I hear your point, and yes, she gave us the loud drama and the redemption arc. But I have to argue that Aurora Matrix's quiet, lethal dominance is actually harder to edit, but equally compelling. Aurora didn't need to yell, she just needed to win. Speaking of which, Aurora Matrix stepped onto the runway.
And the earth stood still.
I was physically breathless, the traditional Chinese dress. The custom phoenix embroidery dripping in heavy, reflective rhinestones, the severe, flawless, honey blonde architectural wig that defied gravity, the bold red trim on the sleeves and skirt. It was cultural perfection.
That is final boss energy. That is the look of a competitor who mathematically knows they are a winner. Which raises an important psychological question for you. Was that the exact moment the crown was officially sealed? Before the lip syncs even started, did Aurora win the season the second she turned the corner in that gown?
Honestly, yes. You look at that level of polish, that level of cultural homage, and that terrifying, unwavering level of confidence, and you just know. The judges knew it, the other queens knew it, the audience at home knew it. It was game over.
But the physical game wasn't quite over, because they had to shed those heavy gowns, put on their aerodynamic performance gear, and survive a bracket-style lip-sync bloodbath. The slay-off for the crown.
Okay, the bracket drama was almost as good as the lip syncs themselves. The queens get to pick their songs based on the order of their challenge wins. Sami gets to pick first. She has the choice between Shania Twain's Man, I Feel Like a Woman and Carly Rae Jepsen's Cut to the Feeling. Sami picks Shania, which makes perfect sense for her campy, silly, country-adjacent vibe.
And here is where the cutthroat, survivor-level strategy of All Stars truly shines. Aurora is up next to pick. Everyone expects her to pick the high-energy Carly Rae Jepsen pop anthem to face Jada or Nearah and secure an easy acrobatic win.
It's the obvious choice.
But instead, Aurora picks the exact same Shania Twain song just to guarantee she battles and systematically eliminates Sami in the first round.
It was so savage. She essentially locked Sami out of the finale right then and there. And the funnest, most devious part, Aurora flat out lies to Sami's face in the workroom. Sami asks, did you pick it for the song or to go against me? And Aurora smiles sweetly and says, oh, for the song. It's totally in my repertoire in Toronto.
A total fabrication.
But then in the confessional, she drops the act and says, I know I can beat her.
Aurora lying just to lie might be the most fascinating window into her psychology we've gotten all season. It was cold, calculated, and brilliant reality TV gameplay, which logically left Jada and Nearah to fight over Salation.
Cut to the Feeling by default.
So, round one, Sami versus Aurora to Shania Twain. I have to say, I was genuinely rooting for Sami's vibe. She gave us high camp, she gave us unhinged, messy, drunken bachelorette party energy, and she did that hilarious, fully chaotic, fuck-ass cartwheel that had me screaming. She embodied the drunken, joyous fun of the song.
Sami brought the character, she brought the narrative. But Aurora brought the absolute mastery of her physical form. Aurora adapted her fluid, highly acrobatic style to the song perfectly.
It was so seamless.
She wore a leopard print bodysuit that explicitly referenced Shania's iconic music video aesthetic, and she executed every single split dip and hair flip with lethal, breath-controlled precision. So here's a debate for us. Does a mid-tempo country pop song like Man, I Feel Like a Woman actually require stunts and acrobatics? Or did Sami embody the true, authentic spirit of the song better by just being messy, pointing at her chest, and having a good time? Is Park and Bark better than gymnastics here?
It's the age-old drag race philosophical debate. Stunts versus the emotional essence of the song. While Sami perfectly captured the messy fun of a karaoke bar at 1 a.m., we have to remember the context. This is a finale lip sync for $100,000.
You have to bring it.
You need to elevate the performance beyond a bar gig. Aurora found a way to marry the fun, feminine empowerment of the song with undeniable athletic excellence. She proved she had the stamina. The judges simply couldn't ignore that level of skill and polish. Aurora advances.
Which brings us to round two, Jada versus Nearah. To cut to the feeling, I have to give a massive shout out to Jada's hilarious, slow microwave turn. It was so funny, just spinning slowly in a circle like a leftover casserole while nonchalantly looking at her nails. But the ultimate sin of lip syncing, she lost the words during the bridge.
She dropped the lyrics. And you simply cannot drop the words when you are facing a technical powerhouse like Nearah Nuff. I marveled at Nearah's mechanics during this performance. She was literally gliding across the stage as if the floor were made of frictionless ice.
That glide was unreal.
She executed this move where she spun around Jada on one foot, fluidly sauntered to the other side of the stage, and opened up her body precisely on the crescendo beat. It gave me chills. It proved exactly why you never, ever want to face a classically trained dancer in a lip sync. They understand spatial awareness and musicality on a cellular level.
They both demolished the vibe of those songs, which was such a relief because, let's be deeply honest, US Season 10 kind of ruined both of those tracks with truly terrible lip syncs.
Oh, entirely.
Yeah.
The US Season 10 lip syncs to these specific songs were historically tragic. Remember the panic cartwheel attempt?
I try to forget.
The Canadian girls finally gave these iconic Canadian pop anthems the respect, energy, and rhythm they fundamentally deserve.
Yes. Justice for Shania and Carly Rae. So the bracket plays out exactly as Destiny and the producers intended. The final boss battle. Aurora Matrix and Nearah Nuff.
The two absolute best performers of the season, former Season 4 rivals, facing off one last time under the blinding lights for the ultimate prize.
And they walk out to Lady Gaga's Perfect Celebrity, in accidental matching kitten caboodle bodysuits. I screamed. They both stepped out wearing these black, strappy, hyper-sexy bodysuits with the exact same silhouette, the exact same severe hair aesthetic, the exact same dark, vampy lipstick. It looked like they were a synchronized, choreographed pop duo.
It was serendipitous perfection. You couldn't have planned it better. It heightened the visual rivalry immensely. It visually communicated to the audience that these two were perfectly, evenly matched titans entering a gladiatorial arena. And the performance itself, astounding.
The sheer unrelenting athleticism, they were hitting every single microbeat of that Gaga track. They were doing synchronized floor work. They were spinning, flipping, landing splits simultaneously. It was a masterclass in breath control and drag performance.
What elevated this above a standard messy stunt fest was the tight, almost psychic choreography between them and the dynamic camera work from the production team. The cinematography captured the raw tension perfectly, cutting quickly between them as they matched each other move for move.
It felt like a music video.
It easily ranks as one of the best finale lip syncs in the entire history of the Drag Race franchise.
Yeah.
It wasn't just throwing out tricks, it was a physical conversation through dance.
I had full body goosebumps. When they hugged at the end, physically holding each other on the floor, gasping for air, you could feel the deep mutual respect. It was so powerful. They left every ounce of energy on that stage.
So the confetti has fallen, the winner is crowned, but how do we feel about the season as a holistic piece of media? Let's transition to our retrospective.
Aurora Matrix takes the crown. I got so incredibly emotional seeing her celebrate with her family on stage, pulling them into the camera shot. She officially enters the Hall of Fame, and it feels so right, so deeply earned.
It does. It is critically important to point out that the Season 4 runner-up earned this crown completely on her own merit. There was absolutely zero production rigor here.
Not at all.
She was not mathematically carried to the finale by producer manipulation or favorable editing. She was highly consistent. She remained unnervingly calm under immense psychological pressure when the other queens strategically targeted her with the golden beaver, and she is undeniably, objectively talented. She did the work, and she proved it mathematically.
She really, truly did. But we have to circle back to our opening rant, the 6-episode complaint.
We demand reparations from the network producers.
8 episodes minimum. We desperately need it. This cast was way too talented, way too rich in backstory to be rushed through a 6-episode gauntlet. We barely got to see Jackie Cox. We lost Pythia immediately after she won a major challenge. We needed more screen time to let these intricate storylines and rivalries breathe. A 6-episode season is an appetizer, it is not a meal, and we are still hungry.
If the streaming ratings justify it, and I firmly believe they do, given the intense online reaction and engagement, Crave needs to expand the episode order for Season 2. The drag talent in Canada is far too rich to condense it this tightly. It does a disservice to the artists who spend thousands of dollars preparing.
Okay, let's get into our specific awards for the season. Segment 1, Finale MVP. We have categories. Let's start with Best Performance of the Night.
For Best Performance, I am nominating Nearah Nuff for her effortless glides in round 2. The way she physically manipulated space and momentum during Cut to the Feeling was technically brilliant and visually arresting.
I agree, that glide was pure magic. For Best Runway, my vote goes to Aurora's Chinese excellence gown. It was flawless. The heavy rhinestone detail, the structural hair, the deep cultural pride, it was untouchable.
Best Lip Sync is unanimous between us. Both of us firmly agree the final Gaga battle between Aurora and Nearah is top-tier, historic franchise history.
Hands down, best finale moment. I have to give it to Michaela winning the chaotic 5-way gong show lip sync. Just the sheer absurdity of 5 queens fighting for their lives while Jimbo shoots a confetti cannon. It was high camp and amazing, unhinged television.
And finally, Queen of the Season.
My vote is Aurora Matrix. She was technical, undeniable perfection from start to finish. She played the strategic game quietly but effectively. She served the looks. She won the lip syncs. She is the total package.
I am casting my vote for Nearah Nuff. While Aurora was technical perfection, Nearah provided the best storyline, the most honest confessionals, and the emotional core of the season. She was the narrative engine driving the plot forward every single week.
Fair point. Moving on to segment 2, Worthy of the Crown. Let's debate the finalists based on the classic criteria of CUNT. Let's start with charisma.
If we look at charisma, you have Sami Landri's unhinged, chaotic social media presence and hilarious confessionals completely juxtaposed against Aurora's quiet, stoic confidence. Sami draws you in with loud chaos. Aurora commands your attention with sheer poise.
For uniqueness, it absolutely has to be Nearah's aggressive strategic honesty. She didn't hide behind fake pleasantries or reality TV tropes. She looked people in the eye and told them she was voting for them, and exactly why. It was so refreshing for reality TV.
For nerve, the award undoubtedly goes to Tiffany Ann Coe. Successfully manipulating the Golden Beaver by actively calling herself weak requires an incredible amount of nerve and a total absolute lack of ego. It was a brilliant psychological play that no one else had the courage to attempt.
And talent. I mean, Aurora and Nearah being absolute titans of physical performance, they are untouchable on that stage. So overall, did anyone besides Aurora ever actually stand a mathematical chance? Or was the writing on the wall from episode 1?
I firmly believe Aurora was undeniable. Once you saw her trajectory, and especially after she survived the attempts to strategically eliminate her in the Girl Groups Challenge, her momentum was simply too strong to break. The crown was always hers to lose.
I agree, but I do think Nearah made her sweat for it at the very end. Okay, segment 3, Finale Fashion Court. Rapid fire, best look.
Jada Shada Hudson's Mermaid Warrior. The sheer scale and ambition of a garment was magnificent.
Most questionable look.
Sami Landri's ill-fitting cone bra. The corsetry architecture fundamentally failed the concept.
Look, you'd steal immediately.
Nearah's red sequins flamenco gown. I would confidently wear it to the grocery store on a Tuesday.
Same. And biggest fashion surprise.
Pythia's 3-headed architectural headpiece. Astounding engineering and balance.
Segment 4, where do we go from here? Let's make some industry predictions about the future of this cast. Breakout stars.
Michaela Couture is destined for a global all-stars format. At 23 years old, her potential is truly limitless. Put her on an international stage and let her shine.
Yes, biggest opportunities. I see Jada Shada Hudson completely taking over Toronto. She has the commanding presence to host major live events, television shows, everything. She is a bona fide superstar.
For All-Stars returnees, Jackie Cox desperately needs a fair shot on a U.S. All-Stars.
Yeah.
She needs to compete against queens she actually knows personally, where she can leverage social connections rather than being the immediate, easy outsider vote.
And what is your one completely ridiculous prediction that somehow feels vaguely possible?
I predict that the producers will specifically cast Juicebox on a third season, maybe Canada versus the world, just to eliminate her first again, purely to maintain the double pork chop curse for a historically unprecedented third time. It would be diabolical, cruel television.
That is so dark. They wouldn't, but knowing reality TV, they might.
It's reality TV. Never underestimate a producer's desire for a narrative through line, no matter how psychologically cruel.
Oh my gosh. Well, babes, that brings us to the end of our finale breakdown. But before we go, we have some mandatory questions for the Snark Squad out there listening to us right now.
We need you to weigh in on our spirals. Would you actually want twins? Are you team matching beige outfits or team sleep deprivation and biological warfare?
Could you imagine doing your current career forever? Are you staring into a metaphorical mouth right now, dreaming of a beach?
Does anyone listening still have a landline home phone or pay for a cable package? Please explain yourselves in the comments. We need to understand the psychology.
And finally, what are you grilling for the last weekend of summer? Drop your BBQ menus in the comments.
And I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to mull over. We just watched Aurora Matrix take the crown after finishing as the runner-up on Season 4. But think about the timeline implications. If Aurora had actually won her original season back then, would Venus have won this All-Star season instead? Or would the butterfly effect have resulted in someone completely different taking the crown?
Oh, wow. Alternate timeline drag race. I love it. Keep the lemonade spiked, the grill hot, and we'll see you on the Snark side.